Pleasant, West Virginia seems like a normal small town. With its cobblestone streets, home-style restaurants, and family-run businesses, it seems like the perfect place to raise your family. However, this bright and sunny little town has an odd attraction. A mysterious figure appeared there in the 1960s. It terrorized its citizens, but it put this little town on the map. The Mothman was a mystifying creature that terrorized the citizens for almost half a century. There are many eyewitness reports that show there was definitely something hiding in the woods. But what was it?
No one could say for certain what Mothman was. There is a speculation that he's just an animal like a sandhill crane or a large barn owl. Other people believe that he is something from another world. However, there is a theory that states that he is the enigmatic thunderbird from Native American legends. Many of these theories have flaws, and there's little evidence that connects him to any of these possibilities.
It is very unlikely that Mothman was a crane or an owl. Neither of these animals are large enough because the Mothman was said to be over 7 foot tall. A sandhill crane is just at 5 feet tall and has a long beak, which the witness said that he did not have. A barn owl is just over 3 feet tall, much too small to be the Mothman. Even though it does have the eye reflectors which are said to be related to Mothman, their eyes do not glow when they do not have light shining on them. Unless these animals were mutated in the helicopters, there's little possibility for them to rise in the air without flapping their wings. This is how the witnesses describe Mothman to fly. There is speculation that Mothman is a being that is not from our world. There were mysterious energy fields, floating orbs, and paranormal phenomena that are usually linked to alien sightings. He is unlike any creature we have on Earth, and there is no scientific explanation for his existence, so there's no proof that he is an alien.
Almost 2 centuries before the sightings of Mothman, there lived a tribe of Native Americans, Shawnee to be exact. They lived along the land of the Ohio River. They were led by the great Chief Cornstalk. As more and more white men swarmed their area and took their land, he became concerned for his tribe. Cornstalk decided to make peace with the white men. Other tribes did not approve of this and were planning to attack. Cornstalk tried to coax an agreement with these tribes, but when he spoke of the supposed attack to Captain Arbuckle, he and other Native American leaders were taken hostage. In order to get revenge, Cornstalk and other hostages were executed with no connections to the attack. Cornstalk's son was shot, another Native American was strangled, and Cornstalk was shot 8 times before collapsing. His curse, spoke from his dying breath, still haunts the Point Pleasant area today.
May the curse of the Great Spirit rest upon this land. May it be blighted by nature. May it even be blighted in its hopes. May the strengths of its people be paralyzed by the stain of our blood.
Couldn't this mean that Mothman was just part of this curse, taking the form of a thunderbird, terrorizing the people of Point Pleasant with its loud noises and terrifying description, just like it did to the Native Americans many years before? But why would he wait until 1966?
There were many people who witnessed Mothman. November 15, 1966, Mr. and Mr. Scarberry and Mr. and Mrs. Mallet were driving past a TNT area looking for something to do. When they pulled into the plant, they saw 2 bright red circles. The men investigated and they saw it was attached to a large animal. All 4 teenagers were terrified. Roger Scarberry said,
"It was shaped like a man, but bigger, maybe 6.5 to 7 feet tall, and had huge wings folded against its back."
Linda Scarberry stated,
It was the eyes that got us, like bicycle reflectors and hypnotic. I couldn't take my eyes off of them.
Roger also said,
"It was grayish in color and walked on sturdy man-like legs."
They say the thing followed them all along Route 62 until they hit the edge of town. There it disappeared.
November 17, 1966, Marcella Bennett and her young daughter Tina were leaving their friends, the Thomases' house, when they encountered the monster. She was walking to her car when she saw it.
It rose up slowly from the ground, a big gray thing, bigger than a man, with terrible, glowing eyes.
It was so terrifying for her that she dropped her baby and fell to the ground in shock. When Raymond Wamsley dragged Marcella and Tina into the house, the monster followed them. It is said it stayed on the porch, watching in the windows until it finally made its way to the roof, and then disappeared.
But where was the monster hiding? The TNT area has several hundred acres of woods, full of wildlife to snack on. There are also many large concrete domes called igloos, where explosives were stored during World War II. These could easily hold a 7-foot monster. There is also a network of tunnels that stretch through the area and would allow for Mothman to sneak out about unnoticed. This area is also full of hazardous materials because of the dumping of the excess materials for making the explosives in World War II. This might have been the cause of the monster to mutate in the first place.
But why was Mothman there? Many people believe that he was a premonition for disasters. He was nicknamed the Angel of Death because whoever saw him always seemed to subsequently have some disaster happen in their life. It was on December 15, 1967, that the biggest disaster occurred. The Silver Bridge, the link between Gallipolis, Ohio and Point Pleasant, West Virginia, collapsed during the evening rush hour. The bridge flipped, dropping the traveling cars, and then fell into the water on top of them. All of this happened because of a faulty eye-bar. The single event caused 47 people to perish, and 2 are still missing to this day. No one could believe the rumors of the collapse that spread through the towns until they saw the wreckage for themselves. Many people say that Mothman had earlier been seen sitting on top of the bridge. After the collapse, Mothman was never seen in Point Pleasant again, but this did not stop the search for the truth.
Mothman has been seen in many different places across the world. He was rumored to have appeared before the Chernobyl explosion and the 9/11 attacks. It appears that Mothman is always sighted before a great disaster. The question is, where will he strike next? The mysteries of Mothman continue today. For the past 14 years, Point Pleasant has honored Mothman by holding its annual Mothman Festival in September. During the 2015 festival, a man drowned in the Ohio River. Some claim there was a dark shadow pulling him under. Could Mothman be back? 2016 is a big year for this festival because this year they will be celebrating the festival's 15th anniversary and the 50th anniversary of Point Pleasant's very first Mothman sighting. Is this the reason he may have came back?
The world's only museum dedicated to Mothman is located in Point Pleasant, along with a statue that represents what Mothman could look like. At the museum, there are many newspapers, stories of first-hand accounts, and props from the movie The Mothman Prophecies. This movie tells the story of the Mothman that is based on the events that happened earlier in the town of Point Pleasant, but it is not completely accurate. To this day, many people travel over to the TNT area hoping to catch a glimpse of the Mothman and be a part of the Mothman search team.
No one knows for sure what Mothman is or if he still exists.
Something definitely happened in Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Too many people saw something for it to be nothing.
We believe in Mothman.